buckle in because you're in for a treat. I spoke with Tara, who is a good shipper. But actually first, before I introduce Tara, I wanted to let you know that on Tuesday the 10th of February at 1:30 p.m. UK time, we've got a brand new workshop free for everybody, and it's called Standing Out in a Sea of Robots, Being an Illustrator When AI is Everywhere. It'd be lovely to see you there. We've changed the way we run workshops now, so it's not got limited seats, so as many people as you like can show up. Thank you for your feedback about that. Tara is a Persian illustrator, humorist, architect and violinist who's currently based in Belgium. She grew up reading stories, playing music and keeping a stack of diaries and offending people by drawing them all fat. Tara spent most of her adult life studying and working in architecture. She now holds a master's degree from Amsterdam School of Art, which she happily keeps in the depths of her wardrobe. In 2023, Tara jumped aboard the Good Ship illustration, rediscovered her love for drawing and gradually started her career as an illustrator. 2 years later, she signed with her agent, Lucy at Luddington Creative, working on picture books, doing commissions, live event illustration and making personal work. I will put all of the links in the show notes, but you can find Tara on Instagram. She's tara.takentaffel. On Substack, she's called Tara's Timeout, and you can have a look at her work on our website as well. Hey, hello Tara, I'm so excited to have you here. So yes, I've roped Tara in today because I wanted to talk to somebody about flying their freak flag, and as soon as Tara's name popped up, I was like, yes, because I am a super fan of your work. If you're listening to this, you have to go immediately, while listening, of course, go and look at Tara's work while we're chatting. But Tara, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so over the moon that, we are having this conversation. We've known each other for a while, but I've never had this direct conversation with you. My name is Tara. My last name is Tayyebi Fard, which is very difficult to pronounce and very difficult to remember. But we're going to move on from this and move to the next bit, which is me being an illustrator and humorist. I have a background in architecture and music, and currently I'm based in Belgium.
Brilliant. Yeah, Tara, it would be so good to hear a little bit about your journey and finding your creative voice, because you mentioned you've got a history in architecture, and of course that's creative in itself. But how was it, that sort of shift to illustration, and what did that look like, and basically what happened?
Yeah, so I was always drawing as a kid, but also growing up. I always kept a diary and I wrote in it and also drew bits and bobs here and there. But I never thought it was a thing like many other illustrators, which I later came to know. And I was also, unfortunately, good at maths. So then people were like, well, you're good at maths. You don't have to go through an artistic career. So let's do something that's creative, but not too creative. And that led me to architecture. And I was dedicated to keep going until I was really old and retired. But I couldn't find a job at some point because of all the crisis. And then I had a couple of months of not having to torture myself because I didn't have a job. At the time, like me and my boyfriend had a bit of extra time to travel and go to museums and concerts and go on trips. And I kept drawing while we were out and about. And I thought, well, maybe this could be my thing. And I looked things up and I came across your YouTube channel, and that led me to the Good Ship. And only a few days later, you were opening your doors to the picture book course. And I thought, this is amazing. I'm just going to do it. And then my life basically changed since then. I was already working freelance as an architect, but doing a little bit more illustration work for architects. And this sort of made that shift a bit bigger. Also, for my graduation project, as for my master's, I did basically an illustration project and got away with it, which is great. But yeah, so I got a lot of input for how to be an illustrator in terms of the skills and knowledge and references from the Good Ship. And also because I was working so much in my sketchbook, and there was specifically with the Quirk excavator as well, I got to dig back my old diaries and look at what I liked growing up, what I like now, and all the books that I've been hoarding from my favorite illustrators and authors, and finding what really draws me in, and then reproducing that. I think it made such a big difference. And on top of that, the community. When I started my Instagram account, I started from zero, but I didn't start with my mom's friends following me just out of kindness, but actual fellow illustrators. And I followed some of the illustrators that I never thought would speak to me because I'm a nobody. But everybody is so kind. I'm always surprised by that. I think that's such a privilege to have those connections, and the good ship really helped with that.
Yeah, that's so good to hear. And it's so funny to hear your way in. I suppose that's something we forget to ask people, like, how did you find your way here? But yeah, the YouTube video, that's interesting. And also, I bet your experience with your parents and people around you being like, oh, you're good at maths. I'm sure a lot of people have had that. I know I had that with people saying, oh, you're good at academic things, English, so why are you doing art? Are you crazy? I think the people around us just want us to be safe, don't they? And there's such a widespread cultural view. If you're an artist, you won't make any money, so don't do that.
I think I was really lucky that I didn't get that much of a safety and security with architecture. Otherwise, I could have stuck to it for a long time.
That's true. Like, it's sort of the silver lining of not having an architecture job.
Yeah, because at some point I realized I don't have a job now, but I'm really struggling and I'm really trying hard to get this job that doesn't pay well, that I don't like, that doesn't stick to a 9 to 5 working hours. What am I really trying so hard to get? If I'm not going to earn well, at least I would rather have fun. I think that's definitely based on something you said. You also said something about you're just a bag of meat. Take it easy. Yeah, those are some things that really helped me change my mindset entirely and genuinely live a better quality of life. Just, you don't have to make it harder for yourself than it already is.
Yeah, being alive is hard enough. Yeah. Might as well do some fun stuff before you die or whatever happens next.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I love that. And what have been some highlights? You mentioned like digging into what you were interested in as a child. That's something we talk a lot about in the Find Your Creative Voice course. I think what gets me really excited about that is it gets you away from the temptation to just look at other illustrators and get sucked down Pinterest holes. What were some of the things from your childhood that really light you up and get you excited now?
Yeah, so the thing is, when you look at my drawings, it's always happy and funny. And the thing is, I've always been really annoyed all the time, all my life. And as a kid, I was really annoyed by some things that people did, or why are they wearing this, or why did they say that? And I just took note of that, and I wrote about them, and I drew them. And so I remember them very well. And I think it's all have fed into character design in a way. And yeah, it also means that I have a very specific image of every person around me. And sometimes when I'm having a conversation with my parents or with my partner, and they see me smile and write something down, they know they have said something that was maybe, it's going to get taken out of its context and abused.
Yes. Just harvesting people for character information.
So I really enjoy that bit. And I think I always enjoyed it, but I didn't have a proper vessel. I tend to remember really random things that don't really matter, but somehow I remember them. And I think drawing is a perfect use of that. I think a really big highlight for me was my Substack. I did it weekly throughout 2024, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I kept it going for way too long. I think it got to 60 weeks or something. And I improved so much from doing that because I never did a daily Instagram post or anything, but that making a Substack post that had some sort of a story, maybe a few images, but like a sequence was a lot of work, but then helped me kind of also understand what I like because I didn't have a rule for what I can post, but whatever that came to mind, but it had to be something.
I always think like the continuous posting of something, that consistency, that is the theme, right? Because making something every single week is such a big commitment. The 60 weeks is no mean feat. So hats off to you.
Yeah, thank you. I quit. I didn't quit, but I just didn't manage to keep it up. But yeah, I managed to also meet a lot of people through that and made a lot of friends. And it's funny because illustration is such a lonely job. And I'm basically working from home all the time. And I don't go to the office anymore. But somehow I have more friends than I used to have back in the day when everybody met in person. So that's great. I actually have good ship friends who I meet with in person. When I was in Amsterdam, I met Lisa Rofredo, who also lives in Amsterdam.
She won one of the Bologna prizes. Yeah.
And she has been winning so many awards. Then I also met Janet Leffley, who is an American author living in Amsterdam at the time. And then I moved down to Belgium, and I still managed to find a good shipper who lives in the same city, Julia Gorkina, and we meet almost, every month at least. Yeah, that's amazing. It's just so beautiful how big the community is.
Yeah, we always forget that as well. And it's like people all over the world meeting up, doing little drawing sessions together and just meeting up for cups of tea. So I'm so happy that it's like had that ripple effect and other people get to do that, because it's the best thing ever, just talking to other illustrators. Yeah, and just knowing that I don't think I can ever get enough of reminders that I'm not alone. Always need to be reassured. Yeah, and it's so true. Yeah. And I think we're all figuring it out as well. That's the biggest thing that's come out of speaking to different illustrators and experts and things. Everyone's just figuring it out in their own way and thinks they're figuring it out their own way. And then it just so happens sometimes it overlaps, or some people discover things that work or don't work. Yeah, and it's often not like during perfect times, but everything feeling doomed and gloomy and sad it is. This kind of thing always gives me hope and makes me get out of bed and do something. I was really into looking at my favorite illustrators' biographies and paths. And some of my favorite ones were working throughout the Second World War, and they were writing picture books. And at the time, it seemed so silly, but it made so much difference. The Moomins were made very close to the World War. And it didn't make a big hit at first, but then it did later. I think we can not see the value at the time, but then later it really shows. And that just, that's so important for people to hear, I think, because it's so easy, especially with social media, to see like the barrage of bad news and the world's a mess, basically. And it's so easy to be like, what's the point? Like, why should I be doing anything? It feels so frivolous and silly, but that's just, it's so important to keep creating good stuff. And I also really struggle to keep going, but you only have so many days to live, and it doesn't help if you're feeling paralyzed all the time. Yeah. And that's true. Like, the world's not going to be made better by you not creating your creative stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's a good message for people. I always find myself hiding from the news a little bit because there's only so much I can take. But I was talking to Helen about this the other day, and basically we agreed that creative people usually, in general, feel feelings so deeply. And that's part of why we're creative and why we're good at what we do, because we see things being funny or touching or whatever. And I think that's what can make it really tricky to deal with real world events and what's going on. Yeah, absolutely. If I'm feeling absolutely horrible about things, I cannot draw. But if I'm feeling a little bit sad or a little bit horrible, then I can make something meaningful. It's difficult. It's really difficult. Sometimes you have to work on things somebody commissioned you to do or you were paid to do. I don't know how anybody does that. And then also that gets prioritized. So then you never get to write on your Substack anymore or draw for yourself. That's a tricky thing and something I think most illustrators go through. But for me, being commissioned to do something, firstly, it's really exciting because you're like, you're commissioned. But then you're like, oh, now I have to do it. And I can't do all the other things I want to do. I have to pause my life and do this thing. And then once it's done, if you want to get more of the things, you've got to talk about the thing and share it. It's just like such a hard hamster wheel to get off. And I think the fly in your freak flag stuff is a really good way to almost step out of that weird fast flowing river of make work, market your work, get more work. Because we got when we first started the course, there were people in there and we were like, these people are really established. Like, why are they here? What are they doing? But it was because they were in that thing of if you get commissioned work, then you kind of get squashed into just making that work and then promoting it and doing the work that the clients want and not necessarily doing the stuff that you want to do. But then if you make the work that is based on your own freak flag, then you get commissioned to do the same thing. And exactly. Also you get the client that is the dream client. And I was actually talking about this with my partner last night, and he was saying, I was telling him, this client that I'm working with is like, I couldn't ask for a better one. And they're so supportive, and they like ask me, maybe like during this thing, if you can't make it, then please send me your business cards and postcards. And I will just, and also very flexible, and they're so cool. They didn't want anything traditional. They really allowed me to be myself. That's why they hired me. And that's what they also communicated. And I was like,
this is so amazing. And it wouldn't have happened if I didn't dare to be myself in the first place. And my boyfriend was saying, if you think about it, then if like for this work, nobody who is actually traditional or who wants that standard horrible design, then none of those people would come to you. So you're already filtering out the people that you don't want.
Are you allowed to share any more details about the commission?
Yeah, it's actually a wedding stationery commission. And yeah, so I'm basically designing the character of the bride and groom, but no veils, no holding hands, no rings, none of those things, no flowers in the design, but it's all very fun and funny, and I'm allowed to draw them fat. It's amazing.
Amazing. The dream. I think you said that in your intro, didn't you? Like you're like drawing people fat and offending them.
Yeah, if they're the right people, they would appreciate it.
Exactly.
Also really old. I tend to really like drawing wrinkles and such.
Yeah.
And big noses, which don't really flatter people.
They're so full of character, though. I love them.
Thank you.
When you were talking about that, the side effect, have you heard of Ikigai? That thing of the Venn diagram where it's the things... I've got a different version of it. So I'm looking over here because it's on my wall. And it's like the thing the world needs, the thing that you're good at, and the thing that makes money. And then there's a bit in the middle. But then this other man, whose name I've forgotten, added more. And it was like things you love and are passionate about and your vocation. And that makes like the ultimate thing. And maybe that's what you're finding by flying your freak flag.
I first tried to draw that diagram in my notebook. I couldn't finish it. Then I thought I would print it. And then I still couldn't fill it in.
Is it the one where it's like extra bits added and there's loads of circles?
Yeah, I think there was a printable version in the Good Ship's maybe business course.
Yes, yeah, that sounds familiar.
And yeah, I really struggled to just decide what goes where and what do people want to pay me for? Nothing. Why would they pay me? And I think I tried it maybe last time, almost a year ago. I don't know. But I just went off thinking about it in the back of my head and just doing what I was doing. So I think maybe that's something to continuously go back to and update. I also started using the document with like tracking numbers. It's also a freebie on the Good Ship's website.
Oh yeah, the spreadsheet.
Yes. I wanted to start using it in October. Then I thought I could do it in January. And then I actually entered the information for January.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a good time.
So I think it's going to be good to, do the thing and then also analyze it a little bit or have a look at the numbers.
Yeah. But there's also a lot to be said for when you're in that space of finding your creative voice, not even thinking about money and clients, right? Because when you're figuring out what you want to do, I think if you think about the money and what you'll get paid for, if you think about that too early, it like squashes anything fun and exciting. When we first started doing the Freak Flag course, people would immediately be like, how do I get work? How do I get work? We'd be like, shut up. We're not talking about that yet. That's not about this course. Yeah. And then we made the business course later because it really is, it's almost a traditional art school. You go in and you do your foundation year where you learn a bit of everything and you do everything, but there's no mention of business or money or commercialism or anything like that. It's just pure, what do you enjoy? What are you drawn to? And what feels easy and fun and what you get the most satisfaction out of? And I think having that mindset around finding your creative voice is really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And also you don't really know what will work. Like it's all so unexpected. And one day you will get paid to do something that feels very easy and not very important maybe, but then you earn a lot of money with it. And then you realize, oh, maybe that could be a stream of income. Yeah, it can be so unexpected. And that's so exciting about it. It's not like a job that you continuously repeat and get the same money. Like
I feel like there's no point even predicting what's going to happen now because it's every year it's here's a brand new thing, figure this out. Might as well fly our freak flags in the meantime. What are your plans for 2026? Are you a planner or are you more of a go with the flow person?
I am a planner. I have a daily planner, then I have a weekly planner, then I have a monthly planner.
Oh my God, I love language, yes.
So I have this sort of daily thing that it just comes, so it's just a notebook. And then it has these frames of 4. And then what I do is I put like AM, PM, self-portrait and notes.
Amazing.
So this one is for today. Please don't make a fool of yourself on the podcast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so every day, like I make the planning at night because that's when my brain is very active. And then the next morning when I wake up, I have a sort of a schedule to have in mind. I always put in breakfast and lunch and dinner just not to forget meals.
Then you can go.
And then I noticed that if I write down what I have to do at a certain hour, I will just not do it. So I make some sort of a menu to choose from, and I've decided that if I do 3 of those things, or even 2, if they're big ones, I should be happy with my day. Yeah. And sometimes often I join accountability calls, like some with The Good Ship, sometimes with Ella Beach's Substack.
Oh, yeah.
Where Ruby Wright and Tor Freeman and a bunch of really lovely illustrators join as well. I always have to pinch myself when I see them on the call. And with them, we have to say what we're going to do. And every time, if I say exactly what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it. So I've just learned to say, I'm just going to draw something. And then it's going to work.
To me with time blocking as well. Have you found that? If you do time blocking, it sounds so sexy and exciting. But then you do it and you're like, rebelling against yourself from an hour ago and you're like, I don't want to do that now. Yeah. I'm free. You can't make me do those things.
Yeah, I also have this sort of a bit more serious thing for the year where you have like things. Oh, nice. Yeah, and then you have the hour. So it's weekly, but then the day is like this, like from the morning to the evening. But yeah, I only do that for actual calls and meetings and sessions rather than tasks to do. I think it's a very personal thing. I started with just writing some sort of lists floating around the room. And then I decided maybe if I do this, it works better, and just you keep editing yourself.
Yeah. Do you set big goals for yourself, or do you see what happens?
For like everyday stuff.
Yeah. So it's usually everyday goals, but maybe like longer term?
Yeah, it's more like weekly goals. So like by the end of the week, I have to do this for this person, this for that person. And some days may be more productive than others.
The weekly is more manageable, isn't it? It's less overwhelming.
Yeah, because I have really good days and really bad days. And it can really freak me out if I have a list of things that are not done. But yeah.
Tell us.
Embarrassingly, I discovered it rather recently, Arnold Lobel's Frog and Toad.
So even more embarrassingly, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's an absolute classic. He's an American illustrator, and it's basically a collection of short stories that are illustrated, and it's about these 2 characters, a frog who is more happy and positive, and the toad who is a bit more whiny. And this sort of combination of them is human, and it's so funny. And so that one day, I think it's the toad, he decides that he has to make a list of what he has to do, and then he crosses them off. Have breakfast, okay, cross off, and then do this. And then at some point he loses his list, and so, oh no, I can't run to get my list because that's not on my list. That's not something on my list. And yeah, it's just very funny, and I relate to it so much. Not only do I enjoy that, but also me being jealous of the illustrator who made that book says something about what I like and what I should be making.
Yes, 100%. I was thinking like that jealousy or envy is just a big flashing neon sign. What is it about this that you want to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Down the rabbit hole with you.
But yeah, I've been collecting so many books since I first joined The Good Ship. It's almost 3 years ago now. But even though I have such a big collection, they all have a lot of things in common with each other. You lose track of things and have too many things, whereas you can only spend so much money on buying books.
Much space as well.
Yeah, I don't even have shelves. I just have piles.
Amazing.
But yeah, especially the jealousy thing is a really good sign. And sometimes it's really good to allow yourself to be just a fan. Like, I'm a huge fan of Ella Beach's beautiful backgrounds and colors and everything. I can never make that myself. But maybe I can have, I don't know, elements of humor and elements of character design, or maybe parts of my lines could be colored and that color could have the appeal somehow that I'm looking for. Or maybe my wardrobe is a lot more colorful than it used to be before the good ship. And that kind of thing comes back in your life, and everything is so personal when you look at it like that, and it all shapes who you are.
I think when you're creative, it comes out whether you like it or not, whether that's through your clothes or your cooking or where you're going and what you're doing. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's both a lovely thing and a bit difficult, right? Yeah, but I think that's an interesting life to live, for sure. It is very difficult, but then by the time I'm 80, I'm not going to regret pursuing this. But if I was going to get old doing architecture, which I hated, I would have really gotten bitter by then. I think I got bitter already, but it's still manageable. But yeah, you don't want to get to a point where you resent yourself and you feel like you haven't lived your life and you haven't been true to yourself and you have sold your soul doing something you hate. I think I read this quote a while ago about the fact that you only have to be responsible to two people. One is your 8-year-old self and one's your 80-year-old self.
That's so spooky, because I was about to say, my friend Leona says, make 5-year-old you proud or excited and 95-year-old proud. This is one of them. But yeah, the same idea. That's so true. Like, it's if you're bridging the two, like the baby version of you and the old lady version of you, if you can make both of those people happy, it's probably not by people pleasing, doing what you think society thinks you should do, because nobody's really that bothered anyway. I think that's the thing. Like, most people are so worried about their own stuff.
And nobody knows what they're doing. They're just pretending if they are. Like, if it seems like they know what they're doing, they're either they don't know that they don't know, or they're pretending that they know. And it doesn't really matter. I think even now, actually, my parents, I think they're proud of me now, but they were really dubious of this whole illustration thing. Can you make a living out of this? And I see this question coming up again and again also on like the Facebook group and conversations. People don't know. They genuinely don't know, and they just want to support you and be there for you. But we are just quite, I don't know, we just don't know any better in a way.
And like parents and people around you, when they seem worried, it's because they want you to be safe, and it's because they love you, and because they're convinced that illustration isn't maybe the best earning career to go into. And we're always very, keep your part-time job, don't be rash, don't make any crazy decisions about it. But there are so many illustrators making it work. And I think if you're crazy enough to want to be an illustrator, then why not try? Like, somebody once sent me a message saying that it was irresponsible, that was encouraging people into something.
I remember that comment, I think.
Yeah, and I was just a bit like, but then I went on her profile and she was teaching people how to draw, and I was like, is that the same thing? Like, you're helping people draw? Like, how dare you? You know, that look, are people allowed to just try their own thing and have fun? I believe that everybody is responsible for their own thing. They know what they're doing. Yeah. And illustration's a brilliant career. And even if it's not a career, if it's just, you just draw because you love drawing, then that's good, all good as well.
Yeah. And I think, illustration, but also any job, if you are not really, if you're not good at it and if you're not aware of what you're doing, or if you're not unique enough, I think you can be unsuccessful at anything. Yeah. I don't think I was successful in architecture, but nobody minded it. I wasn't earning much, or I wasn't happy, but somehow it didn't matter because the title architect sounds so good.
People go, wow. Yeah. I want like a motivational poster that says, you cannot succeed at anything, or you can be unsuccessful at anything.
It's true. I feel like there's so much stigma going into that title, or any title that's big enough, and you can really fool yourself with that. It doesn't guarantee anything. I don't know. I'm just very adamant about this because I feel like it's wasted a decade of my life, and I don't want to allow for more of that. And I feel like if I can save one other person who is doing this to themselves, that would be great. I would be really happy with myself.
I'm sure at least one person, probably way more than one person, will be feeling super inspired to have heard your journey and your story. So thank you so much for sharing so generously. And I will put all of the information in the show notes below where people can find you. I'll put you a Substack.
Yes, I switched to monthly publication and then I skipped January.
But I'll put your Substack link in, your Instagram and your website and things. You can tell me all the links that we're going to shove in there.
Thank you so much.
It's been an absolute treat and I'll speak to you soon. Okay, bye.